they're not without their faults. The Sonik Gizmo Mark 1 has been out a few years now. This is why I still believe it's the best budget alarm set you can get. Whether you're just starting out and you don't want to spend too much on a new hobby, you're buying a set for a newcomer, or you're Mr. Always in control and you want a spare set of alarms in your bag set. A little trawl online, you can get a set of these now for around £100, which is incredible value for money for a branded alarm set. I've been using them for the last 14 months. I bought them as a stopgap when I started fishing again, and I haven't felt the need to replace them yet. They're not without their faults. Let's just run through the tone wheel so you can hear the extent of the tones. As you can hear there, great range of tones. And this is them in real life, the lowest and the highest. Yeah. As you can hear, the highest is a bit of a grater, but I really like the low sound. It's not a sophisticated dual sound like your Delkims, etc. But it's quite a respectable, inoffensive noise, and that's what we want, really. Extreme test number 1. Let's give it a dunking. You've just finished fishing, you're packing up all your stuff in a hurry, maybe it's raining. You go and pick up your alarms and your rods, the last things you pick up, and then suddenly right, fingers crossed. Still works, still works. Have a little check of the battery compartment. Absolutely dry as a bone. Dry as a bone. So that's good. Test passed. Whether you bought 2 alarms or 3 alarms with the Gizmo Mark 1s, they all come with this lovely looking receiver and bivy light, which acts as a second receiver. As you can see, run on the receiver, run on the bivy light. We'll go into those in a little bit of detail in a minute, but first of all, the main thing we want is that when we get a run, we want to be able to hear it on our alarms, hear it on the receiver, hear it on the second receiver, the bivy light. So let's do a little range test. They're stated 100 metres. Let's see if it lives up to it. As you can see, I've put the receiver up against a metal board. This is just to try and recreate some, you know, we've got bivvies in the way, you've got trees, you've got bushes, you may even have signs like this one. But this is just to recreate a bit tougher conditions. As you can see, 20 metres was fine. I am just stepping these out, so it's no way exact. 30 metres, fine. The high pitch noise is the bivy light. The low pitch one is the receiver. 40 metres, didn't work with my back facing it, but when I was facing it and in a clear view of sight, it worked. 50 metres, no, nothing. 60 metres, obviously nothing. Absolutely happy with those results. Not quite what it stated, but then every test has variables, doesn't it? So, you know, I could wrap it in a lead box and it won't have a 10 metre range. It's things like that. So I'm perfectly happy with that. Let's give it an endurance test. Bang. I left these in my garden in February out for a week. A whole week. We had frosts, we had rain. It was just disgusting British February weather. And as you can see, as I gave a retest, the first alarm worked with the first spin. Bang. This alarm took a couple of rolls of the wheel to get a run. That was because I think the water was sitting on the wheel, therefore not causing a signal between the magnets and a beep. So if you are going to keep your rods out for a week unguarded, again, not realistic fishing conditions, but worth it for the test. Just check there's no water line on the wheel, give it a couple of spins. As you can see, they're very slimline alarms, and I'm very famous for the width of my thumb, but I can just about get that in there, give it a good wriggle and get carried away. Anyway, I can just about fit my thumb in there. It is literally about 2.5 centimetres across, 1 inch if you prefer. Very slimline alarms. I really do have to say I'm a huge fan of the bivvy light. You can sync it up, it shines with a middle LED, the colour of your alarm going off, and it hangs on top of your bivvy and really illuminates it. And I'm not joking, some runs I swear I used to miss just because I used to sleep through them. With this, you're woken with a hell of a jolt, that exciting carp fishing jolt. As I said before, they're not without their faults. The little on-off button on the alarm, both of my alarms have now become jammed. They still work, but you've got to really dig them for them to turn on or off. So that's not great. The biggest negative I have found with these mothers is that it's only happened twice, but it's quite a big error. Suddenly, both my alarms dropped out of sync with the receiver. That hasn't been too much of an issue with me because I either use the alarm noise if I'm just doing a day session, or if I'm doing a night session bivvied up, I use the bivvy light, that's included too. So I haven't really noticed, but after looking online, doing a tiny bit of research, it seems to be a reasonably common fault. So just be prepared for that. Like I say, it is a big fault, but with the extra you get 2 receivers, so I don't know if they knew that was happening or what. Also, perhaps a bigger fucking plane, fuck off. I mean, probably a lot more people paid to be on that plane than I have to be here.